What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and I'm here today to preview Spider-Man. Now, Spider-Man comes out exclusively on the PlayStation 4 on September 7th, 2018. So this is the big game for the PS4 for the fall. Sony has had a pretty awesome 2018, and they've really had quite a few good years over the past. You know, they've nailed it with exclusives, although been a little sporadic in terms of how many have been coming out each year. You know, we had games like Uncharted 4 back 2 years ago. Last year we had a couple, but not that many. This year we've had quite a few big ones already. We've already had massive ones like God of War and Detroit Become Human, which are both substantially big games. And a game like God of War even is, being talked about massively as a game of the year, game of the console generation, all things like that. And this is another one. Spider-Man has so much potential to be what we've talked about in our community series on the channel. We do videos on Spider-Man. Spider-Man has the potential to be the best superhero game ever to come out. It's got the potential to be better than the Arkham games, and it's got the potential to be one of the best PlayStation 4 games, one of the best PlayStation games, all of that, all of the above. It's got the potential to be all of that, and I truly think it can do just about all of it. This game is like I said, filled with potential. Made by Insomniac Games, a company that's obviously had history with Sony in the past. Games like Ratchet & Clank, games like Resistance, games like Sunset Overdrive, which really the last two are the things that I think they're taking the most influence from and putting it in. I think the storytelling and the way they tell the story and the kind of adultness, but also being able to just craft a really good story is what Resistance is all about. Resistance is a fantastic story game. And in terms of the fluidity and how things look and how things move and how things run, Sunset Overdrive was a fantastic game in that respect and did really well. And I think we're combining that. This game has everything you want from a superhero game. It looks absolutely beautiful. From what we've been seeing, it plays absolutely amazing. I mean, people always have had the memories back in the day of playing Spider-Man of being able to just swing your way across New York City. I mean, and that's a thing that, like I talked about in the first community series video, that's a thing that I think gives it a leg up over a ton of games. If they can make it just fun to explore, to just have fun, make it fun to have fun. Just swing around the city, explore, have random events happen, and do whatever you want. And that's just part of the game. The story seems very, very interesting. A new Spider-Man that we're not really used to seeing that often. I mean, although the movies, especially the early on movies like the Tobey Maguire movies, have skipped years of his life, and even the Andrew Garfield one, this is one where Spider-Man's a little bit older. He's in his early 20s. He's been Spider-Man for 8 years. So this is a character that we're not doing the origin story. This Spider-Man has a lot already, behind him. And in terms of just all the stuff they're cramming in, I mean, there's a ton of villains in this game. There's going to be tons of cameos and mentions. You actually play as Mary Jane during key parts of the game, which we're not necessarily sure how that's going to work. We will when we actually see it. But the game just seems filled with so much, and the potential is there. I mean, the fighting, the combat, the skills, everything in this game looks to be a ton of fun. This game and this kind of thing, I feel like, has been wanted by fans for a lot of years, and the Batman games prove that you can do this. And Spider-Man had done it before back in the early 2000s. They had made games that did this. And then we had the Batman games that could show you can make a superhero game that's this good. Because those Batman games are insanely good. And I think the Spider-Man game is going to be the same. I really, really like when it's coming out in early September. This is going to be a busy fall season. There's a ton of games coming out, especially like in October. This is Sony's main game. I mean, that's just it. I mean, they have Spyro, the trilogy, the remaster, that's coming out. But in terms of PlayStation exclusives, this is all we got. But this is really all we need. Because even without Spider-Man, we still have all these AAA games, Fallout. We got games like Red Dead, Battlefield, Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed. I mean, there's so many. And this game really has a chance to stand out, coming out earlier than all those games, separating itself from that, but also just being this superhero game that's just been so... I mean, people are excited. And this game has been built up throughout the last 2 years. This was announced 2 years ago. And, I really, really hope it does amazing. And I was even reading, I mean, this has been promoted and even talked about back in the early stages of announcing it, that this is the start of a new movement. Marvel wants their superheroes, they want them in games. They want to give them to studios that they think are really, really good, and they want these games to come out. This will not be the only Spider-Man game. You've got to imagine, you got to bet that Insomniac has made a deal with Sony, or Sony has contracted Insomniac, make Spider-Man, it does good, you make the next one. I feel like when this game is going to come out, there's going to be a lot of stories that Spider-Man 2 has already been talked about internally at their studio, and that when this game does come out, you don't hear from Insomniac for a while, and then you start hearing rumors that, yes, we're working on Spider-Man 2. This is really, really, really good for Sony, because this game has the potential to be a Game of the Year and compete against another PlayStation. The two Game of the Year contenders, other than a game like Red Dead and other than a game like maybe Super Smash or a Fallout or whatever, there's a couple games this year, and there are some games in the spring too. But the two big ones that I can think of and I predict are God of War and Spider-Man. That's two Sony games competing against each other for Game of the Year. That's a great problem to have. Spider-Man 2, I 100% think will happen. I want to do a games cast on that in the future as well and talk about the possibility and when that could be and all that stuff. But I am very, very excited. We're going to be having a giveaway for this game. We're going to be having videos on it. We're going to be having a live stream, a couple live streams on it. So we're very excited. So if you're interested in Spider-Man, definitely stick with the channel. We got a ton of stuff coming up when the game actually releases. We'll have all of that content throughout that week, the end of the week into the next week. We'll have lots of stuff. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of this Spider-Man game. We do previews like this on games and movies every single week. So, definitely check out the channel for that stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you on the next game preview.